Honestly, officer, does this thing look like it would have a system in it that would shake your car? Like, for real, there's no way. This is an old shit box. Ain't no way it was shaking your car. Jeez. Good morning, guys. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Emmy-winning, we're going to get an Emmy on this channel one way or the other. I'll probably buy one of Taylor Swift's off of eBay before long. Who knows? But we're going to get an Emmy right here on this channel. And it's still cold. Ugh. But anyway, today we're going to talk about line output converters. Because why? Somebody left in the comment they wanted to know about line output converters. And are some better than others? And the answer to that is definitely. Now, I tell you what, you can jump on the old... the Jungle website or the old eBay, and you can buy a line output converter, probably $8 shipped. It's probably going to be some shit like Soundstream or whatever. You know, one of them names that the company was the shit back in the early 2000s that is just garbage now. And that's just how it happens. Like EXO got them Soundstream subs, but they were made back when Soundstream was awesome. Now, Soundstream is just pretty much garbage. But anyway, yes, there's a different line output converters. Will the cheap ones work? Yeah, probably not. I don't know. You'd probably get sound out of it. But anyway, for those of you wondering, what the hell does a line output converter do? Well, if you got a factory radio and it's a bitch to change the radio, then you can run a line output converter. The speaker wires from the rear go into this thing and it gives you RCA signal output. So it basically converts regular old speaker wires into RCA so you can run amplifiers and stuff like that. Really great for adding a sub. I ran into a situation one time where none of them things would have helped. One of my clients that I tattoo, kind of a friend of mine now, he bought a Maserati Ghibli, and I did a system in a Maserati. Why? Because the factory Harman Kardon amp in it quit working. And this thing had the big touch screen that ran radio and AC and climate control, you know, all that crap was on that TV screen. And lo and behold, I tried running a line output converter on it, and it didn't work. I mean, it did, but it didn't. And you're like, what the hell, Jerry? How did it did? Well, what it did was, this sumbitch was full blast all the time. The volume control had no control over it because the damn volume knob on the radio was nothing more than a sense wire, like an independent sense wire, that went to the factory Harman Kardon amp. So, to correct that, because he didn't want to buy another Harman Kardon amp, because reading on the forums, they were really garbage in them cars. It was like a real common problem. And what I wound up doing is keeping the line output converter back there running full blast. And I wound up only using one RCA cable out of it, because he had actually got a decent one that had 3 outputs. So we had to break it down to just one and use RCA distribution block. But that one ran up front to a bass knob and then ran back to the RCA distribution block. That way we could actually use the factory radio and still control volume. But it wasn't the best way to do things, and it was kind of a pain in the ass. But we really didn't have no other options in that car because of that stupid amp design and volume knob. Now, back to the line output converters. Just like anything else, you're going to get what you pay for, obviously. But I'm not a fan of line output converters per se, not when you can get DSPs so cheap now. Every DSP I've ever seen has high-level inputs on it. And what high-level inputs are is they have a set of inputs that would come from your rear speaker wires and your front speaker wires. Do you have to use them all 4? No. You can strictly just use the 2 and run up to 12 or 16 channels depending upon how big a DSP you get, you can run just the 2 rear speaker wires into that DSP and run all them channels out if you wanted to. And like the DSP I have in the Jeep here, this image even has Bluetooth on it, because I know when I go to my phone, it throws up like DS18 DSP. So if I wanted to, I could play off my phone by skipping the radio. It's just good old subwoofers don't run through the DSP, but it is what it is. There's just so much more you can do with a DSP. Honestly, you know, if you have a fairly nice car too, and you're wanting to put a decent little system in it, get a DSP. And like I said, all the ones that I have seen, they have high level inputs on them. Now, are there DSPs without high level inputs? Maybe. I don't know. I've never seen one, but I'm not going to say they don't exist. So before you buy one, make sure it does have the high level inputs. Another great thing about a DSP versus your line output converters is, with a line output converter, that's all it does. The DSPs that I've seen, and I don't know if all of them have this, but the ones that I have had so far have had it, is they have a switch on them to where it'll sense signal coming in through the high level input, and it will turn the unit itself on. And it also has a remote out, which means you don't have to tap into the fuse box or, you know, a wire that gets live with the key on to turn amplifiers on for the remote, you know, because the DSP can be triggered when you start the car and the radio kicks on. When it sends signal back to them wires, it will turn itself on when it senses that. And when it turns on, it gives you a remote out. Now, that is also a big benefit, because me and my buddy did a system New Year's Day, and that was one of the problems we ran into. We were using a cheap dollar store line output converter, and it took us a minute to find a place to make a remote turn on wire for the amplifier. So these are all benefits, dude. There is no downside to getting a DSP. And I know what you're saying, but Jerry, I don't know how to adjust a DSP. Well, that's relatively easy. One thing that'll mess you up when you buy a DSP is, you know, you get it installed and then you turn on the car, the DSP comes on and does nothing, like nothing at all. So you go over there, you hook up the old laptopper, bam, and, you know, it connects to the DSP, but there's nothing. You know, it shows the DSP in your devices, but nothing. What I have learned buying DSPs, if you buy a DefBonch, go to DefBonch's website, their actual website, and pull up the DSP. If you buy a DS18, go to their website and pull up that particular DSP and read in the description. It's going to give you a link to download the actual software and drivers that you need to install on your laptop for that DSP. That's the only problem I've ever ran into with it. It's like none of them come with, you know, a thumb drive with firmware. The ones that I've gotten so far, they didn't even tell you in the damn book where to get, you know, the firmware. But, you know, go into the website, looking at that particular model, and it'll have a link there to download the software. You know, it's relatively easy, man. You pick what you want, channel 1 and 2, which will be like, you know, left, right, 1, 2. What you want them to power, whether it be, you know, your front mids and highs, or your rears, or your subwoofer, or just a tweeter. Always make a note in a notebook, too, what goes to what, you know. But when you pick that out, look at that speaker online, and it's going to give you a frequency range. You know, say you have a pair of 6.5s, and the frequency range on them starts at 100 hertz. Well, in all reality, you're going to pick about 130 hertz crossover point with either like a Linkwitz Raleigh or a Butterworth slope. And that's like the line that does this. Here's the graph of playing a frequency. Like if you pick 120, that's 120. or well, 120 would start here, and it's going to dip down. Over here would be like 80 or whatever. That slope, Linkwitz Raleigh Butterworth, is going to determine how sharp it ramps into that. I hope that wasn't backward on the screen, but my screen's flipped like facing me, so I don't know. But anyway, yeah, once you figure out how to set everything, which is really easy because you pay attention to the graph, you're golden. And you can kind of set each independent channel like that, which is great, man. I love DSPs for that reason. You know, it's like in here, I have every tweeter crossed over at the manufacturer recommended point. I have the horns crossed over there. The tins in my doors are crossed over there. My A-pillars are crossed over there. And I did have to look at the graph because, like, my damn tins, they actually start at like 50 hertz. But when you pick 50 hertz in the DSP, you got a slope of how it ramps into that 50 hertz. And that might drop down to 25. So that's where you play with the different slopes, like Linkwitz, Raleigh, Butterworth, whatever. And I actually just kind of moved it up to 80. I didn't want them playing really anything under 50, no matter how low the volume was. Another benefit is, you know, you can run your front, rear, subwoofer, everything off of the DSP. You have total control, and you can turn the volume on each one of them up and down. So, you know, say you get your amplifiers all set clean, you got all this shit hooked up, but your tweeters are just screaming in your ear, making them hurt. You can just hook the old laptop up and bleep, 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 bloop. Turn the tweeter down while you're listening to it. You can be in the driver's seat like, yeah, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Oh, perfect. And just leave it there. You know, so I highly recommend DSP. Do line output converters work? Yeah. Do they work good? Not so much. With that being said, look into a DSP. If you can't afford a DSP and you just wanting some bumps right now, yes, you can get by with a line output converter. If you take this shit serious, like if you take car audio serious and you want something that lasts and to give you total control, run multiple amplifiers, you know, with highs, mids, mid-bass, subwoofer, whatever, get a DSP. I'm not going to recommend any brand DSP because they're all about the same. I will tell you the only DSPs that I wouldn't run are the ones that's got the little LCD screen on them and a knob. To me, that's not a real DSP. I mean, that's just some, like, you know, usually you get them from Stetson, PRV, Tar amps. They're all exactly the same. Just different color, different name on them. I'm not a fan of that. I like a real DSP that allows you to hook up a laptop and pick the slope and everything else, you know, and allow you to pick what input source controls this channel. That is a key benefit. That bullshit with the little blue screen on it and all the buttons, that's not real. I mean, it's a real DSP. It's just like buying a flea market EQ, guys. You're not going to get the same control you get out of just a unit that you had to have a laptop to control. That's all I got for you guys today. I really hope this video helps somebody. But, you know, as everybody has been copying my saying that I exit my videos with, it's all today, guys. Have a great day. Peace out and bass on.